It's your boomer consumer, and this is the Klipsch R-41m speaker. Now, this is a bookshelf speaker, and it sells for about $100. I think they're $99 as of the day of this recording. They're a passive speaker. In other words, they don't come with its own amplifier, so you need to, furnish an amplifier for it. But this is an outstanding value for the price. Now, normally I would go through all the specs and everything and kind of save the demo for the end, but I'm actually going to demo those for you right now. So I believe in audio gear that doesn't break the bank, that sounds good. I'm more of an everyday kind of audiophile with not the biggest budget in the world, but I definitely want good sound. And this is the first set of Klipsch speakers I've ever had, and I'm using them as a reference speaker for my videos, something to compare other ones to. Well, let's just talk a little bit about the design of this speaker. The star of this show is this 4-inch spun copper woofer. And it is spun copper IMG in injection molded graphite. And this has this kind of a copper coating spun over it. It produces an adequate amount of bass especially in a kind of a near field environment. In other words, as you listen closely to them, you're not too far away. These would work best, I think, if you team them up with a subwoofer. Now, these are great for a small room environment or part of a home theater setup. I can see these being used as surround speakers. You might even use it as a center channel type of speaker. 8 ohms. Now, as far as the power handling capacity, the advertising says 200 watts, but that's peak. Sustained is about 50 watts. Now, I'm using an NAD 316B B2 amplifier, and it's a 40-watt amplifier. And these are very, very easy to drive, and they can get very loud without a lot of power. The next part of the speaker I want to talk to you about is this 1-inch tweeter on here, and they call this the Tractrix horn. The idea is to disperse those highs towards the listener using this horn type of design. And it feels like metallic. It feels metallic, but I think it is more of a plastic. And so you have these nice looking copper screws on here. It's a very good looking speaker. Another thing I like about this speaker, as opposed to a lot of inexpensive speakers, rather than having clips for the grill cover, these just literally are magnetic and they pop right on. Take them right off. And I think a lot of people would like to display that nice looking copper on the black. These are available only in an ebony finish. Now, the sensitivity of these speakers is 90 dB. So in other words, feed it 1 watt of power at 1 meter is going to measure about 90 dB on a sound pressure measurement tool. So these are 11.3 inches tall. And for comparison, I have a CD right here, and that kind of gives you an idea. That's about 2 1/4 CDs tall. And as far as the width is concerned, there you go. Just about this. It's 5.75, just about the width of an average CD on here. And it's 7.9 inches in depth. So for the metric people out there, it's 287 millimeters by 146 by 200 millimeters. The whole weight of this speaker is 7 pounds. They're not huge, but they still put out a fantastic sound. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. On the back of the Klipsch speaker, you have your binding posts on here, which is a nice touch. Many inexpensive speakers just use clips, speaker clips, but you can actually use banana plugs and so forth. Then you have the bass reflex port. And then you have this keyhole on here for mounting on the wall, I really wouldn't advise doing that because then you're blocking that bass reflex port. As far as the enclosure is concerned, it's made out of MDF, and then they use a vinyl wrap, again in ebony. They did an excellent job on that. You really couldn't tell it's a vinyl wrap just looking at it. It's got a nice texture to it. I don't suspect there's a lot of reinforcement in the cabinet, but at the price point, these are really tough to beat. These replace the R-41Ms, and I think they've done a great job with these. I think the best way to describe these little bookshelf speakers is that they're lively. The mid-ranges and the highs, crashes, cymbals, vocals are very well pronounced. There's a lot of presence in these speakers. And I'm ultimately going to end up purchasing a set of the big brothers, I think they're the RP600Ms. But these are fantastic, especially for a smaller environment. That vocals, the highs, it's just, the Klipsch has, I think, their own unique sound signature that I think a lot of people are really, really going to love. The bass is not very substantial. But again, you're dealing with a rather small woofer on here. Use a subwoofer with these, and these things will hold their own quite nicely in a lot of listening environments. But you're only paying around $100 for a pair, and that makes these an truly outstanding value. So whether it's a home office environment, a bedroom, just a smaller room, these are going to be more than adequate. I have these hooked up to my amplifier, my test bench, all being fed through a DAC, coming off of a laptop. That's what I use for testing. And I'm just quite pleased. These have, I think, a unique sound. They're worth $99. Oh, heck yes. If you're contemplating getting a set of small bookshelf speakers, I would definitely recommend looking at these Klipsch R-41Ms. I do have a link down below for more information. Thanks so much for watching. Bruce Naylor, your Boomer Consumer, and we'll see you in the next video.